All right, good morning, everyone. It is the 8th of November. It's like everyone's wide awake. Hope you guys are doing well. I am wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to today's edition of Snow Talk, lack of their Snow Talk, Sun Talk, whatever you want to call it. Updated on the blog here where we have a chance to discuss not only the short term, but obviously into the long-term trends as well as we head further into the month of November. And I'm going to do just that for you guys. Some of the new longer-term maps always have new longer-term maps. That's a fun thing, right? There's so many of them that come out. I try to choose a different one for a different topic that I want to cover for that day as they do roll in. Some of them I can't use at all because they're just, well, flat out garbage, to be honest with you. So some, though, are interesting and do tell a story. And those are the ones I hope to show you guys here on a daily basis. Okay, so let's begin with the the snowboard. Got to do it. I mean, it's like protocol. I think it's like in my contract, I have to at least show the snowboard, right? So there is nothing yet on the 2-week board to be added yet. We're always going to be keeping an eye out. Maybe one day this will change. It will. One day it will pop in. But today is certainly not that day. Quite the opposite. It is a gorgeous setup today. Some high-level clouds. The low-level clouds you see there, we're going to kind of fade out a little more in the next couple of hours. But a beautiful setup today with temperatures having a really good chance to tie the record here in Louisville anyway, but possibly even beating the record in some of the other sensors that we've got here into Wave Country. You can see we've got just a few of those clouds now, but we're going to see more and more of that blue sky take over as we head throughout the day until a cold front moves in, which is going to happen later tonight. The front is way back here into Omaha, and I know it's way over there, but it will get here fairly quick. So as we get into this evening, it will be approaching from the northwest. Right now, passage through at least Louisville and kind of an angle across Kentucky looks to be about, I would say, 3 to 6 a.m., somewhere in that window is when it should actually pass by. They change to the northwest wind, and that will set us back up into a cooler setup for the next several days ahead of us. Until that happens, though, it will be rather mild and warm outside. In fact, the latest on the forecast high today is 82 degrees. The record is 82 back in 2020. We'll see what happens if we can get there. Yesterday, we've made it to 77. We came within 2 degrees of the record high the past 2 days here in Louisville. We've been 2 away every time. Now, if we go with that trend, then today we'll be at 80. Still, it's quite warm. But I got a feeling that today, with that strong south wind, we should have a pretty good chance to get even above that mark, which then means that the record in Louisville will be a little more in jeopardy. Will everybody be at 82 today? No. That's the sensor the way it's set up there for Raleigh International, especially with the southwest flow coming down off the Jefferson Memorial Forest, does tend to what we call overachieve a bit more than surrounding spots, but still warm nonetheless. So that's the good news today. Nice warm day. You want to get up some of your decor. My neighbors were doing that yesterday. Go ahead, tackle that. If it's inflatables, you've got a battle ahead of you because there's going to be a lot of wind today and tonight. But if you just want to get the leaves kind of raked up and cleaned up, even that'll be a challenge with the wind. But if you want to get things kind of tidied up around the yard to get ready for your decor, by all means, take advantage of that. Get stuff out of the shed that you need to get out that you don't want to deal with when it does get colder. As far as any kind of decor, days like this are really good to take advantage of that, and just being outside in general and take the dog for a walk. You've got until about 5:15 or so, right? Until it gets a little too dark for that, but still nice and warm for the next several hours. Here's the front moving in tonight. Not a lot of rain with this. We're going to have a drought update tomorrow. Right now, we're thinking it's going to be the same, if not slightly worse. But Louisville, or East Central Kentucky, is running about 0.8 of an inch is what we need to get out of a drought status. However, Eastern Kentucky, it goes up to nearly 3 to 5 inches. And southern Indiana, just north really of Jackson County, it's roughly 7 inches of rain that is needed to get out of a drought status. So really our southern counties in Indiana and right around central Kentucky doing far better than our neighbors are. But I don't think the drought status is going to change significantly tomorrow, but we'll find out. It'll be out tomorrow morning. I'll have it for you guys. Okay, but as I mentioned, not a lot of rain as this passes on by. A few light showers passing through while you're asleep. Most of this should be out of here by the time you're up and going for your Thursday. Remember, at that point, the wind has shifted to the northwest, so a cooling wind. Therefore, the thermometer tomorrow, it's going to be a little weird. It'll drop down into the 50s. We'll have some sunshine. It'll try to fight back and push the thermometer back up to 60, lower 60s. But that cooler northwest wind is going to be strong enough to where it'll begin to force it right back down again. So I don't think we'll be able to have much of a recovery on the thermometer once we do fall tonight. So, but our official high tomorrow may very well be about 70 or so, whatever it says at midnight tonight. Will officially be in the books for November 9th as about 70. So that's why sometimes we get the highs on TV. Just keep in mind that's the high for the date. So sometimes it can be a little misleading. We don't have to wait long, though, for our next system. We ramp back up the clouds. Yeah, the rain for this one's another southern tracker. I'm not sure still how far north this is going to go. Some of this could be Virga. We may get some light rain into Louisville and Indiana. Your better opportunity, no doubt, is going to be E-Town and southward with this. And then once again, it's a morning issue. So it's Friday morning we're talking about. By Friday afternoon, some of you, especially north and west of town, will actually be back into blue sky again. The rest of us will be drying out. It will be getting chilly. For the first time, we'll be in the 30s in a while. That'll be Friday night, Saturday morning. So the furnaces will likely kick back on to start the weekend. As far as the wind goes, let me do a closer look at that again for today. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, maybe up to 35 in a few cases. There may be a brief little relaxation with that near sunset. But when the front gets closer, the wind will increase again. And once more, gusts up to 30 miles per hour or so will be possible tonight. So if you have a wind chime outside your window, you may not get much in the way of sleep as it'll be blowing on by here, right? Looking at the longer term, the good news is the weekend, the little wave that was showing up on Sunday is basically gone now from all the modeling. So the weekend looks good, mainly dry, maybe some increase in clouds Sunday, but it will be chilly this weekend. 50s during the day, 30s at night. We get into next week. The overall setup will feature a low that's moving into the Rockies. Now, here's the thing. It arrives with a lot of reinforcements into the northwest and all the way down to Southern California, but it gets broken off and becomes a cutoff low from that support and begins to just wander to the southwest. And this is a key player of how Thanksgiving week into the travel time period for Thanksgiving week, how that will play out. This feature will likely play a role in that. I just don't know exactly how yet. We need more data to figure out where it's going to go because, again, it loses its support. So it'll be broke free. So it may stay out there in the southwest. It may work its way a little more into the plains and slowly through the Ohio Valley over about a 3-day window. We'll just work on that later. Up ahead of it, there will be some light showers. This is nothing significant. It's a relatively weak system. That'll roll out of here by next weekend. GFS yesterday was really aggressive on this being a heavy rain event for wave country. I'm not seeing that signal as much today as I did yesterday, but we'll see if it can come back into place. And it kind of goes back and forth and showing up and fading out. But right now, it's not a strong signal, which isn't too surprising given the droughts. Now, looking at the longer term, CFS model, which again, you can't always take it for a grain of salt every time because he has some wild runs. But I've been looking at all the different model runs the past several days, trying to figure out a theme to it. And it is certainly wanting to pick out a blocking setup that develops with a very sharp trough, blocking into the Atlantic to allow for a low to dig fairly far south as we head into the end of November. And this is a cold system too, by the way. And even this one in particular, if you want to take it at face value, does want to try to put snow on the ground at the end of November. However, previous model runs of this do show hints of it. Sometimes it's a few days later, early December. Sometimes it's a couple of days earlier, closer to Thanksgiving. I think later is a little more likely than earlier. Don't know on the snow part. No one does on that. But I can at least tell you that this is the teaser that I still think is in the cards for us. We're still thinking it's going to be the first little tease would be early December. But here's what's odd. When you look at the P&A, which again, positive indicates a colder setup typically that can happen in eastern United States, a negative below the black line. A negative indicates a warmer. You can see that we're going into a setup that will feature a warmer pattern that will be coming our way as we head into early next week, at least a warming trend. Then we'll get cooler again. It looks like around the 18th. That's a little low coming through. And then we're back into another negative round as we head into Thanksgiving, indicating a warmer setup. So this back and forth seems to be the pattern with the jet, which when you look at the weather models, that's what it's doing. It's kind of like a snake. It's back and forth, back and forth. We've seen that already as of late. We've had cold weather on Halloween. We've got the warm weather, record warmth now. We may continue this back and forth. But what is really weird, and give me time with this, but it's really weird is that the El Nino signal is getting stronger, especially for the Eastern Pacific. Nothing unexpected there. But what has become a little unexpected is that the other parts of the Northern Hemisphere are not reacting the same way we typically see El Nino. Going back, looking at all the other El Nino years, there are some stark differences that are showing up. And that makes us a little uncomfortable for long-term forecasts, because now we are starting to see signs that there is something else. There is something else that is going to be a player for the winter. But what is it? It's a good question. Right now, a lot of climatologists and meteorologists are going through all the data, trying to figure out what could be the one signal or indicator to show that. I'm working on that. As soon as I get a better idea of how to explain it and visually show it, I need more maps. Some of the key ones I really need to come out Thursday night. But I'll try to get something in the short term for you guys to show you. But I just want to stress that, again, this winter is going to have some interesting fun and games with it. I just don't know yet what that means for the eastern United States, including right here into wave country. But just because it's El Nino doesn't always necessarily means it is the main player. It likely will not be. I just want to get that nugget out that we're already seeing that signal show up. And it's interesting. It's intriguing. So more on that into the coming days. All right. So everyone's excited about the warm weather. Hello from Sellersburg. Hello, Annie. Or Ann, sorry. Hello from Sellersburg. Hope all is well up there. The snowboard looks barren. It does. But hey, we got a long way to go. It's technically still autumn, right? It's technically still autumn. We got plenty of time there. Jason, watching from Clover Report. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate that, as always. Would you say, Angela? Shorts and sandals kind of day. Yes, these anomalous type of days are always fun because, and they're not unheard of. I was looking back, we have hit upper 70s and sometimes even touched 80 at least once the past several Novembers going back through records. So it's not unheard of. It just happens to today fall on a day where the record is a little more reachable. That can be, they certainly can be taking place. Les, you believe atmosphere not coupling. Okay, well, Les is catching on to what I was alluding to there with El Nino. Les, I don't want to get too in the weeds on that, but it is interesting with the negative PDO because we've had a negative PDO for a while. It is starting to weaken slightly on that. No doubt, I do think that plays a role in this, but I think it's more as well as an issue of blocking in other parts of the world that has nothing to do with the Pacific Ocean at all. It's more of an issue of Eurasia and what's happening in Siberia. I think is an interesting section of the country to watch, and even around to the Aleutian Islands into Alaska if we were to throw in some Pacific there. So again, I don't want to go too technical on this right now because I don't want to throw everyone into a frenzy. But just know there's a lot we're looking at. I'll have more maps and discussion on that in the coming days. Kathy, I want some snow. I do too, but I want it at the right time as far as like, within the season of winter for once. I don't want it outside the bounds of winter. That's when everyone complains. And I love snow off and on during the holidays. I think that is when I get the least amount of hate mail. When it's snowing in April, near Derby time, near Thunder over Louisville, that's when it's a little different story. All right, guys, that's where we stand today. I mean, relatively quiet in the short term. So let's focus on this beautiful record warmth that we've got coming our way. And we'll see if the new longer term stuff comes in the next couple of days. We'll be talking about that. We got plenty of time. This is all going to be evolving very slowly. All right. There's no rapid flip that's going to happen, at least not getting by my watch. I'll see you guys coming up today on midday at 11 o'clock. Take care.